Well, they say that you're a fool. You believe in magic. I'm Paranormal Pete, and I'm on a journey to seek answers to the questions that have crossed all of our minds. What happens to us when we die? Is there an afterlife? I'm a regular guy who discovered the gift of psychic mediumship in my 30s. My passion for history and the unknown have put me right here, right now. My mantra for anything paranormal is, we don't know much and anything is possible. Join me as we find our way through the stories, evidence, and experiences of the paranormal and beyond in search of answers, even if that leads to more questions. Are you with me? Welcome, everybody, to the final for now Paranormal Pete Show here on WLTK-DB. It's right up here behind me. If you're watching, check out WLTK-DB.com. And gosh, there's so much good content on this station. If you like this show, you're going to like other shows. So please check them out. There's a station app as well, which is handy for catching live shows and archive shows and pretty much helping you get through the website to check everything out. And I'm also, since my last show, I'm sporting my WLTK-DB shirt. Get yours at the station shop now. And feel free to join the conversation tonight. We've got a very special guest and a good friend to this show, Karen Frazier, coming on here in a few minutes. And we'll see what we get into talking about. We always have a great time. And so I'm looking forward to that. But big shout out to Todd Bates, station owner and host of Haunted Voices here on WLTK-DB, Todd Bates. Special thank you to him. He's always on the ones and twos and makes this whole machine work with the help of some producers now, which is great. But big thanks to Todd for everything he does for the show. And we'll wait to get emotional until towards the end of the show here. If you like the intro music, that's my band Steady Rock Cosmonaut. It's a song called Magic. I think that's probably one of my favorite ones that we play. If you like the music, dig the vibe, check out steadyrockcosmonaut.com. You can find us on the socials just by looking that up. And we have a YouTube channel, so check us out, steadyrockcosmonaut.com. What do I have going on? I've got some comments coming in. I'll get to those in just a second. And feel free to join the conversation, guys. And wherever you're watching from, just go to the comment section and then we'll see it. And let's see. I got a lot coming up. Woo! Boy, I'm getting busy here. Thought I was getting busy all year long, but it just keeps getting busier. I just announced all my 2023-2024 Port Gamble Ghost Walk tour dates. So those are coming up in October. I do tours every Friday and Saturday night, including Halloween, because as we all know, ghosts only come out in October. So check that out at portgambleparanormal.com. It's a 3-hour tour. If you're in the area or traveling and going to be in the Puget Sound area, definitely look it up. It's a fun history tour of this really old town that I'm lucky enough to live and work in. So that's coming up, and special investigation dates are on there as well. So that's a 3-hour investigation with me at the Walker Ames house here in Port Gamble. Those dates are up, but they don't start until November. So that's going on, and immediately coming up, I'm super excited about Saturday, September 16th. And if you go to portgambleparanormal.com, you'll see it right there. I've got a workshop that I'm partnering up with Joanne the Psychic from Port Townsend, Joanne Clarkson, and she's leading a palmistry workshop. And then we're teaming up for a psychic mediumship development workshop. And then after a dinner break, we're doing a group reading for everybody who attends the class. And it's $40. So you can get tickets at portgambleparanormal.com. Spaces are starting to fill up really fast over this last week. So get your ticket now. Really looking forward to that. Plus, the cool thing about this workshop is we're doing it in the historic and haunted Masonic Lodge, Franklin Lodge number 5 here in Port Gamble. So it's going to be an amazing workshop, and we're hoping to really deliver a lot of self discovery and to help guide people along in their journey. If you're just starting out into the world of psychic work, hopefully we can help you get you going in the right direction. So, got that coming up September 16th. So here in just a few weeks. The some conferences coming up. The OC Paracon, some news on that. That's down in Anaheim, October 6th through 8th. They've had to switch it and make it a virtual conference. So how cool is that? If you couldn't make it, you can attend virtually. And they'll have virtual vendor experiences, and it's going to be pretty cool. So check out ocparacon.com. That's put on by a good friend of this show, Henry San Miguel, who's the host of Paranormal Perception. So that's coming up. And then, of course, the Oregon Ghost Conference. And it's one of my favorite ones down in Seaside, Oregon. It's every March down in Seaside, Oregon. It's March 22nd through the 24th coming up. OregonGhostConference.com. If you haven't checked it out yet and you're on the West Coast, you're missing out. So go check out the website. There's always a really great lineup of speakers and classes and special events. Plus, there's always a bunch of great vendors there. So it's going to be a great time. That's coming up next March. And so again, that's OregonGhostConference.com. And of course, we have the 14th annual Port Gamble Ghost Conference coming up November 10th through the 12th, right here in Little Port Gamble. And my special guest tonight is going to be teaching a class there. We're going to get into that a little bit. But go to portgamble.com or portgambleparanormal.com, and you can get to the conference page. We filled up so fast this year. It was amazing. Flooded with applications really fast. And so we've got some new speakers who've never been to the conference and some new classes, certainly new topics. We're going to be utilizing the historic and haunted Port Gamble Theater along with another venue called the Canal Vista Pavilion. So there's going to be a lot going on, a lot to take in, but everyone who comes to the conference and contributes to it is always so personable. So it's a great place to come learn, meet other people, have shared experiences, and hopefully have just a blast of a weekend. So got that coming up here, portgamble.com, November 10th through 12th. And I hit me the other day. It's the 14th annual, and I've coordinated 13 of them. And so I was like, wow, okay. I guess I've been doing that a while. I love the conference, and just really looking forward to seeing everybody to come out for it, meet new people, and see some old friends as well. So we got some comments to get to before we bring on Miss Karen Frazier. I got a good friend of the show, Mary. Good evening, Pete. Gonna miss you. Oh, thank you, Mary. You've been so kind and gracious to the show. Appreciate it. And Courtney Lopez saying love. Lynn, hello. Hey to you too. And Michael Beers checking in. Hello, everybody. Good friend of the show, also. And then Katie Brown. She's been a listener since the very beginning. It's good evening, Pete, Karen, and listeners. And Michael says, well, I'm busy, busy, busy. You got it. Yeah, I'm very, very busy. It's been my pleasure to help you with the show, my friend, from Mike. Thank you very much. And I'm going to be mentioning you later. And lucky number 13 from Courtney. Yep. I hope it's lucky number 13. But with that, let's bring on our special guest for tonight. I think this is her 4th time on the show. I think 3rd or 4th time at least. She's been so gracious coming on so many times, and we always have a lot of laughs every time we talk about stuff. But Karen Frazier writes and teaches about spiritual, metaphysical, paranormal, and vibrational healing, exploring topics such as dream interpretation, personal empowerment, metaphysics, alchemy, energy healing, crystals, psychic phenomena, and the survival of consciousness after death. She's also a channel for the George Collective, energy mentor, energy healer, and Peden degree, I hope I said that right, Karen. Reiki teacher who teaches classes about energy healing crystals, Reiki, the psychic phenomenon. Likewise, Karen co-hosts the Mindful Mystics podcast with Paranormal Underground's Cheryl Knight Wilson and Inner Voice Healer with Chucky G. Let's bring on Miss Karen Frazier.
Woohoo!
Hey, welcome back to the show, Karen. And
Thank you.
always appreciate you taking time out to come on the show. And this is my last show.
I know.
And so I'm glad to have you aboard for the train here for the last one. What have you been up to?
I mean, I've been really busy. I just got back from the East Coast. I was out at the Omega Center in Rhinebeck, New York, teaching a crystals and Reiki class for a Reiki conference
Oh,
out
that's cool.
there. Yeah. So, and then we were there for a couple of days, and then it was like adult summer camp, but like super woo. So I really liked it. And then we took a couple weeks to just sort of road trip the East Coast while we were out there. So what I've been doing since we got back is trying to catch up on my work.
Yeah, you can play and play and play,
Yeah.
but the work always catches up to you
Yes.
after a while. So, is there a connection with crystals and Reiki?
They're both forms of energy healing. I mean, Pete, everything's connected, right?
Sure.
Everything is energy, and so crystals and Reiki, yes, they're both forms of energy healing. You can use them in an energy healing session. Very easily incorporate them into your sessions, and I do.
Oh, that's cool. So you also have worked with like sound baths, sound bowls, things like that.
Yes. Yep.
That all kind of connects, and you can do multiple things during a healing session.
Yeah, I mean, what I will typically do, so more of that stuff comes in person. When I do stuff distance,
Hmm.
that's mostly Reiki and me telling you, "Hey, get these crystals and try this," right? Um, but when in the in-person stuff, yeah, I will ask people if it's okay if I bring other things in because they'll usually want the Reiki, and then I'll say, "Okay, well, I do these other things. Is that okay?" And most of the time, people say yes.
Nice.
Energy is energy, and we receive energy differently, and so some things work better for some people just because they connect to it. Like for you, I would imagine the sound baths would be amazing because you're a musician.
Yeah, I react very well or poorly depending on what it is
Yeah,
with with sound. So
yeah, that's fair.
yeah. Well, and if I remember correctly, you are a musician as well.
I am. That's how I sort of started to incorporate the sound into my energy healing work is that I grew up as a musician. I played piano and flute and percussion and mandolin very badly. So
Me too.
so I miss those things. And I taught flute lessons for a while, but kind of stopped doing that. And I really wanted to find a way to bring music into what I was doing because it's such an important part of my life
Yeah.
and always has been. And so I started working with singing bowls and sound healing and really studying that, took several classes and workshops in it and have learned so much about it that it's really satisfying and fun to do, whether it's a big group sound bath where everybody's laying on the floor and usually my husband starts snoring, which just adds a little to the sound. So whether it's that or it's a couple of people, it's a
Yeah.
really great way to connect people and to introduce people to energy, especially people who are maybe a little leery about the other forms because sound is something really concrete, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's something we all react to. Like music
Mhm.
is just I've never met somebody that says I don't like music.
I met one
Yeah.
person once who told me I don't like music, and I said, "What? What? How?
Okay, they're an alien.
How did? How? how?"
Yeah, yeah. I mean, think about it, how much music is a part of, I don't know, like our physical and mental and
Yeah,
emotional self, and
yeah,
it's hard to
everything.
imagine not liking music. I mean, I say I've never met somebody. It's amazing that you've met somebody that said that.
One person, and honestly, my response was just, stunned because I'd never heard somebody say that.
Yeah. Well, music in it, and the sound baths and all that, that's energy. Like you said, everything is energy.
Mhm.
I've been feeling a real pull to kind of mix up music and mediumship more. I
Yeah.
think that's something that I want to research and get, and do my own research and kind of figure out from my own perspective how that can work. So I think that's really cool that you've been incorporating that for quite some time. Um, Coming up at the well, I might have some more music questions for you in a little bit,
Okay.
but coming up for the Port Gamble Ghost Conference, you've been to just about all of them.
I spoke at the very first one, the one that you didn't coordinate.
Yeah.
Sha
Actually,
Shauna? Shayna?
Shanna.
Shanna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've seen the arc of this conference, and we're still going, and we're gonna keep going.
Yeah.
What's been because you've either spoken or taught classes nearly every year,
Mhm.
and what's your take on Port Gamble, and then we'll talk about the conference a little bit. Like, what draws you here?
So, I used to live in Kitsap County, back before I had tapped back into all of these abilities and things that I do. And we would drive out through Port Gamble, to go, to go out to the Kingston or go out to the, across
Olympic
the bridge or
Peninsula,
something.
yeah,
And so I always wanted to go through Port Gamble because I loved the town, and we would drive through, and I would say, "This place is haunted. There's something with this place." And I didn't know anything about it other than that when I drove through, I was just like, "This place has gotta be haunted." I did the same thing with the Wheeler Hotel, by the way. We used to do that with the old Wheeler Hotel before I knew anything about it. Would drive by and be like, "That place is haunted." So it's one of my party tricks. It's one of my road tricks is that I can drive by things and say it's haunted.
yeah,
Um, but so even before I started going to Port Gamble, I thought there's something about this place. Um, and so I've been involved in investigations there. I've been involved in the conferences there. I don't think I've ever done your ghost walk. I've probably disrupted it a time or two, but I've never I've never been on it.
I can't think of a time you ever disrupted it.
That's always Kristen's idea, by the way, just so you
Okay.
know. Just gonna throw her right under that bus and back over. That's always Kristen. But so I love the energy of the place. We have for every conference for the last several years, we have both of the two little rentals right down on the water. And we've
Yeah,
had experiences in both of those houses down there. It's a haunted town. It is the whole place has a vibe. It's a really cool town. The only place I struggle is at the Walker Ames house, but that's because I'm so empathic. I don't know what happened there, but there's something there that
yeah,
makes me sad.
yeah, and uh, none of us really know what happened there.
Yeah,
There's historical record
yeah,
and psychic investigation and stuff, and we try to mash up the two to see what lines up, but we don't really know what happened in there, and how you feel is certainly I hear that from a lot of mediums.
yeah.
There's just so much emotion and
Mhm.
feeling in there. Um, well, I mean, I'm glad you're coming back for the conference, and I always get to see you guys at the Oregon conference as well. You're going to be teaching a class called "Using Remote Viewing Principles for Psychic Development." How did that come about?
It actually came about because the Edgar Cayce Center contacted me and said, "We're looking for somebody to come out and teach a remote viewing class to us." And I had written about it in one of my books, The Ultimate Guide to Psychic Abilities. And I had taken a class, and they said, "So, is there a way that you can work this?" And these are fairly advanced people because the Cayce Center it's a lot of things, but there are a lot of very psychic people who attend the
Yes.
conferences there. And this was,
Yes.
I believe, their psychic conference. So,
Okay.
so I developed the class for that, and I actually first taught it out the full class. I taught a little mini version out here in Centralia for their Halloween thing that they do in downtown Centralia.
Yeah.
And then I flew out to Virginia and taught in November and taught the full class. And it's not, the goal isn't to teach people to remote view, because that is a really protocol driven process that takes some time to learn. Because you need to learn the protocols, you need to develop certain habits and all of those things. But when I was learning it, what I realized is that there were a lot of things that I did automatically when I that were remote viewing principles that I didn't even know. I just did them naturally as part of, using the writing and things like that. So essentially what I do is I take the very first few steps of remote viewing, which are all about getting your left brain, your logical brain, out of the way. Is that your left or right? I always get it wrong. Anyway, getting your logical brain out of the way, giving it something to do while your psychic brain goes to work. And this is something that's been used by it's been used by the military. I think they admit it now a little bit, but still not a lot. They claim they don't use it anymore. It was
Yeah,
developed
right.
by Ingo Swann. Right. I know. I'm sure that they probably still use some form of this. And people who don't even have any psychic abilities that they know of can use this and accurately view targets. And so I take a little mini very first part of that, and I teach a principle and then we practice it. And I teach a principle and we practice it. And so people get to play with it throughout the class. So it's more of a
Yeah.
workshop where people get to interact. It's not just me standing and talking to people. It's me giving them a little chunk. Okay, now we're going to try this, and letting them try it. So it's a lot of fun.
That's cool. And then they can, ask questions, it's a live interaction. I think
Yeah.
that's great. What do you think is, I mean, what's one of the most important things when you're starting out with remote viewing or just mediumship in general? Like, you mentioned, like, kind of protocols
Yeah.
and certain habits. To you, what's been your staple as far as, getting in the mode, calling on the
Sure.
woo woo,
Yeah. So getting in the mode for me is as simple as taking a few minutes before I do any kind of a reading or interaction, whether it's a place, a person, whatever it is. Taking a few minutes to just take my shoes off, put my bare feet on the ground, taking some breaths and just kind of connecting. And I start to pay attention to what I feel in the body. And I like to use a tarot deck, because for me, it helps focus me. And so I'll think about them and I'll connect and I'll sort of shuffle through my deck, and just think about that person and start to see the impressions. And as soon as the impressions start to come in, I'll set down the deck, and I always have a pad of paper, and I'll just start to let my pen move. Sometimes I write, sometimes I draw. If something comes to my mind, I always write it down. And then I tell them exactly, I show them, I'm really bad at drawing, but I show them exactly what I've drawn. I tell them exactly what's coming into my mind. I tell them the words I've written down, and that's how we start the communication. I don't interpret anything. That's not up to me. The minute I start to interpret what's coming through, I'm wrong. And that's one of the main principles of remote viewing, by the way, as well, is that you interpret what comes, or you don't interpret what comes through. You use descriptive words, not nouns. So in remote viewing, I'll teach the whole class here now, Pete, then I won't
Well,
have.
no, you don't have to.
No, I know, but I mean, but you use, and one of the things in remote viewing is that you use descriptive words. So you use adjectives and adverbs and things like that instead of nouns.
Okay.
So I might say that it's warm. I feel warm. So you describe feelings and a feeling of space, like bigness or smallness, but I wouldn't say basketball. So I might notice round, right? And if I noticed round or spherical, the first thing I might think is whatever round or spherical means to me, which would probably be some kind of a ball, soccer ball, something like that, right? Or
Right.
crystal, let's be honest. But so it would be one of those things. And if I start to get, that's my conscious brain kicking in. That's my ego part kicking in, saying, well, it has to be this because this is your experience. So the main thing for anybody, whether you're remote viewing or just reading, is that you don't ever give those interpretations. You say what's there, and then you let the other person draw the interpretations from it.
Yeah. And I think that's something it's harder to do than it sounds.
Oh, yeah.
to
Because you don't
to
recognize when you're kicking in to do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes you don't, and checking the ego, before
Mhm.
reading them. That's harder than it sounds, but with
Mhm.
practice, it does get easier. What do you? So I've had many readings in where if I'm communicating with somebody on the other side, have you ever had them where I guess the best way to describe it is they communicate through emotion?
Yeah,
And
so
not necessarily like you don't see a word or, you don't see
that's
an
kinda how
image
almost
of
all of it
something.
goes for me.
So they're communicating emotionally. Is there is, I feel, a little bit of interpretation there. Um,
Yeah.
how do you kind of get around that? Because I think that's something that everybody runs into when communicating.
So emotion always comes first for me, always, because I'm an empath. That is my primary thing, and I am an extreme empath. That's why a lot of times at conferences you see me teach the class, and then I'm not there the rest of the time. It's
Yeah.
because it's people-y, and I love people, and I love to talk to people, but I have to do it in small doses, or I hit the wall real fast.
Yeah.
And so I go spit. So emotion is always, and I feel it as if it's my own. Along with that emotion, I tend to be clear cognizant and sentient, so I'll know things.
Right.
And so I might have like a name and an emotion and connect those things. And so I will give that type of information, or I may have a descriptor. I'm a little bit clairvoyant, and I'll see, like, honestly, it's the hardest thing for me to see. It's like little flashes. So I'll see like a little puff of white hair or something, right? Things like
Yeah.
that very quick. And so I combine all of those things with the emotion, and I just say, look, this is the emotion that I'm experiencing. And then I let them work it out. And the other thing that I do is I'll feel it in my body, so I will feel physical things. I'll feel pain in my chest. Um,
Yeah.
I will feel. I had one. I was doing a walkthrough of somebody's house, and I walked into her bedroom, and the room spun 3 times, and things went black. And it happened 3 times. Things went
Wow.
black, and I mean, so I could interpret that, right? I could be like, okay, well, this is what happened, and I just said to her, the room spun 3 times, and it went black, and that happened 3 times. And she said, well, my mom died of a stroke in this room.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah,
Yeah.
you were feeling
Yep.
the physical part of that
Yeah,
almost.
yeah, I get the physical
Yeah.
part a lot. That's fun.
Yeah, and that can be taxing, and
It is.
we got a few comments I wanna get to
Okay.
here. Anna's saying, "Hello, can we ask questions about living people?" Um, sure, I'll see what I can do here. If you want to, yes. And Michael was saying remote viewing is what I do more over my other skills. I found several missing people, and it's been joy. Bringing closure to families is rewarding. Absolutely. That can be pretty powerful. Um, and Courtney's saying is how we as humans understand best true feeling, emotions that communicate in ways we understand. Yep. This is kind of an interesting way. Yes, from Karen. Hey, Karen, thanks for watching the show. Yes, I felt what they felt and seen how they passed. Even felt drunk and pains. And
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Me too.
It's kind of weird when you get like a spiritual drunk, I guess,
Oh, yeah.
like a flood of emotions. And it's just kind of
Yeah.
like, whoa, oh, you don't know, which way you're going here. Um, and Courtney's saying, I've had heavy chest in my upstairs bedroom and once felt like an energy ran through me. That was weird. I just left the room. Good call.
Sometimes that's the best course of action.
Yeah, yeah. I had an experience kind of like that at the Manresa Castle on the hashtag not an investigation night. And we were in the ladies' restroom in the lobby in the Manresa Castle, and it was me and two other mediums and my wonderful wife Molly, and we all were feeling this presence in the bathroom. It was kind of a staunchy debutante sort of lady that may have been divorced and was really not happy about it, is kind of what we were all feeling.
Oh.
And I think one of the people there said, well, you go ahead and leave if you want to. And we all kind of felt this cold whoosh, that technical term whoosh,
No, but that's
go
it.
through us. Yeah,
When
it
they
is like
whoop,
a whoosh.
sometimes that's all they need is you can say, you're not stuck here. Off you go if you want, and boom, and that's what you feel, is that
Yeah.
there's an internal, it's not like you hear whoosh, right? It's this internal whoosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Anna just posted a question, or Ann Iva, and yeah, maybe not for this show for this question, but you could message me after the show, and we'll see what I can come up with for you. But yeah, thanks for asking. We're halfway through. Oh my gosh. We'll be right back. We're going to take a quick station break, pay the station bills here. We're with special guest Karen Frazier here on WLTK-DB.com. We're on the Paranormal Pete Show. I'm your host, Peter Obey. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Looking for a unique paranormal experience? The Haunted Rock Island YMCA Paracon, October 7th, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. is just the event you're looking for. You will have the opportunity to investigate the Haunted Rock Island YMCA with ACG Paranormal. Visit with over 60 paranormal and metaphysical vendors from 8 or more states. And pre-order your t-shirts at dvinar@aol.com. Visit a psychic gallery reading, mediums, tea leaf reading, animal communication, dream interpretation, aura reading, tarot and oracle card readings, or get a Reiki healing. See a demonstration of the Estes method by Carly Bird. Presentations by Nick Simons and Aaron G. Thompson of 28 Days Haunted, Greg Bakken from Ghostbox Radio, and headliner Rick Hayes, along with many folks you'll see on Paraflix. Be sure to like and follow our sponsors: Paraflix, WLTK-DB Talk Radio LLC, Studio 6 Productions, Unturned Pages, and Ocean Eye Crystals. General admission is only $5, and all proceeds go directly to the Haunted Rock Island YMCA. For more information on the Haunted Rock Island YMCA Paracon and vendors, look for them on Facebook under Events.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pete Show. I'm your host, Peter Obey, with special guest Karen Frazier. I think 4th time back on the show.
Is it?
I think it is. It's
Okay.
gotta be. It's gotta be. But again, thanks for coming on. And before
Yeah.
the break, we were kind of talking about kind of interpreting different things coming through in readings and some of the challenges that come with that. I want to kind of ask you about dream interpretation, kind of jump into that a little bit, because I think we all have dreams.
Yes.
I-
Some people don't. Some people say, I don't dream. They still do. They just don't remember them.
Right. I'd say the majority of people don't really remember all of their dreams. And
Yeah,
so
but you don't want to remember a lot of them because they're just data processing, essentially.
I think, yeah, right.
Mhm.
From your day, from what's going on in your
Mhm.
life, your brain's processing it while you're sleeping. Yeah, I could totally see that. And real quick, and how can I message you? Go to the facebook.com/Paranormal Pete Show, and you can message me through there, and I'll see if I can get any help for you. But dreams, so super important. I think, it's our other half, right? It's our subconscious that's playing
Yes.
through. How is it just as simple as writing things down? Like, how do you start? For me, I've had a lot of weird dreams growing up, and I don't know if it has to do with psychic looking back on my life, I think it does in some ways, but like, how do you even start to interpret these? And by the way, Karen's got a book about this,
I
about dream
do.
interpretations, and I'm going to put out there right now your website. People need to go
Okay.
check that out because you've got like 500 books that are great.
Well, I mean, a few less than that. A few less than
Yeah,
500.
but they're great though. So
Thank
you
you.
need to check out author KarenFrazier.com. I just put it out there in the comments there. Yeah, so how would someone even get started with trying to figure out their dreams?
I mean, it's a great question, right?
How
And
do we do
that's
it?
why I started doing it, is because I wanted to figure it out, because I, like you, have had just ridiculous dreams my entire life.
Yeah.
Um, to this day, like last night, ridiculous dreams.
Yeah.
Um, so what I would say is, for starters, set an intention before you go to sleep. So the dreams that aren't the data processing, right? The memory storage dreams, and the memory sorting, what they are your subconscious communicating with you, because sometimes that's the easiest way to get through to you. So your subconscious can be your higher self. It can be your mind, working on things that you didn't even know you were sorting out. It can be your emotional body. It can be your energetic body. It can be your soul. It can be spirit guides. It can be all of those things can communicate through dreams.
Right.
And so one of the things I recommend for people to get started, even the people who think I don't dream or I don't remember my dreams, is set an intention before you go to sleep at night. And all I do is simply say, tell me what I need to know. That's it. Every night before I go to sleep, tell me what I need to go know. And then I also have a piece of amethyst on my bedside table, because it's a crystal that supports dreams. So it's a great crystal to have next to your bed. Some
Okay.
people like to sleep with it under the pillow. I don't like rocks in my bed. I'm like the Princess and the Pea, just not very comfortable. So,
But it works for some
but
people.
it
Yeah.
works for some people. And then as soon as you wake up from a dream, I would recommend now. So I used to say write it down.
Mhm.
But now just like have even a recording app on your phone, or on, one of those Amazon products that sits on your bedside table, things like that, right? Have
Oh,
a
sure.
recording app and just either jot down or type into your phone or record one or two words that'll help you remember the dream, because dreams are super ephemeral. They're gone like that, right?
Right.
And so you have to start recording them. You can also set an intention before you go to sleep that you remember your dreams. Um,
Yeah.
Tell me what I need to know, and help me to remember my dreams when I wake. So usually when you wake up, by the time you're brushing your teeth, which is the first thing I do in the morning, I get out of bed, I go brush my teeth. By the time you're brushing your teeth, those dreams are almost gone, unless
Right.
they're a really, but if you write them down or you record them or something, just even a few words. And then as soon as you have time, sit down and write as many details as you can remember about the dream. And that's every detail, colors of things, numbers of things, things that stood out, plot points, where it takes place. And you're probably not going to get the whole thing, right?
Right.
But every one of those things is a symbol that means something. So like where the dream is set is telling you kind of what the dream is generally about. So if you have a dream, and it's set in a hospital, it's probably about your health.
Yeah.
Dreams, by the way, are always about you. We're very self-involved when we dream. They're all about you. Everything in a
Okay.
dream represents some aspect of you. So
Okay.
dreams are incredibly self-involved. Um, and so if a dream is set in a school, it's probably a lesson that you need to learn. Dreams about telecommunications that don't work, that don't function, are about communication and feeling like you're not communicating.
Right. Right.
Most technology, malfunctioning technology, is all about feeling like you're missing communications in some way. So the setting of the dream tells you kind of what it's about. And then all of the different things in the dream, the colors, the people, are all symbols and archetypes that are based on kind of our personal symbolism, our cultural symbolism, our national symbolism, right? Some our family symbolism, and then this big bulk of symbolism that Carl Jung talked about, that was kind of the collective consciousness symbolism, right?
Right.
So write all of that down, sit with it, and then the first thing you do before you crack a dream dictionary or anything else is you simply say, what do I think this dream meant? And people come to me all the time with dreams that they want me to interpret. And the first thing I always ask is, what do you think it meant?
Right.
And like most of the time, they're right. Trust yourself,
Yeah.
right? And if you can't work it out, then start looking up the symbols. I like for people a really good free resource on the internet is dreammoods.com, all one word, just dreammoods.com. And you can look up almost any, you can look up colors, you can look up numbers, you can look up all of those things and just start writing down what those are and what the setting is. And it sort of all starts to weave together and make sense. That's how you start. You start to look up what the symbols mean. You start to ask yourself what it's about and you record them and pay attention to them. And I mean, it's a little more involved in that, but it's what I do for dream interpretation is a fairly lengthy process. When somebody brings me a dream, it'll take me 2-3 hours to interpret that dream to get it to where it's really, really accurate. But for you, if it's your dream, you'll look up those symbols and you'll be like, oh, well, and it'll spark something in you. You'll remember, you'll be like, oh, well, I was worried about this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. When you're doing a dream interpretation for somebody, you mentioned that it does take some time.
Yeah.
Are you tapping in psychically at all? Like,
Yeah.
oh, you are. Okay. So it's
Yeah.
not like you're just reading the notes and listening to what they're saying. And from, you're then kind of connecting with that person and their
Yes.
energy and feeling it
Yes.
yourself. Okay.
Yes. So I use all of the symbols. I actually teach a process in the classes that I've taught about it and in the books that I've written. I've actually written two. One is, I think it's just like the Dream Interpretation Handbook. And the
Yep,
other one
that's it.
I use just as a workbook that's called Dark of Night and the Light of Day. And I'm not even sure if I sell that one anymore. I use it as a workbook for my classes.
Okay.
And it walks you through a process from soup to nuts, what you need to do to start to interpret your dreams. It's very manageable, especially if the first thing you rely on is, well, what do I think this is about?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And also, for everybody out there, it sounds like, it's a good self-trust exercise too, to try
Absolutely.
and interpret your dreams and what's going on. And I like to know that most of the time we're right with our initial instinct of what is what. And it just shows that as a race, we all have this psychic ability to, look within before looking out. And it's amazing. And you mentioned a couple of the books there, and my sister Dee Dee saying, I have several of Karen's books, great info, excellent resources, and well written.
Thank you.
If you are watching out there, author KarenFrazier.com. Yeah, I think your books are great. I need to get some more of them, actually.
Well, my whole goal with any book I write is really teaching energetic literacy, right? Giving people a context so that they can start to realize that they're energetic beings, that they have a light switch inside of themselves that they can flip on at any time of their choosing. Not to teach them how to do it, just to remind them that they have it so that they are curious and start to explore it.
Yeah. And I think that's just half the battle, is having that curiosity to, when someone's ready, they develop that curiosity.
Yes.
Another good friend of the show checking in, Michael Lanciana. Hey, he says he's going to miss me. Well, I'll still be around. It's not like I'm leaving the planet, but I'll still be around doing things. But thank you, Michael, and everybody for commenting. Let's talk a little bit about, and thank you for sharing everything about the dream interpretation. It's really interesting. It's been like, I need to sit down and try and do the process of a lot of my dreams I had growing up. I remember them. Like, I still remember them.
But I think that those were a different type of dream. I think that
Oh,
those were psychic dreams. So there are different types of dreams. I'll just tell you.
oh, well,
There's
okay.
the data processing dreams, the ones where you wake up and think, "Holy crap, what did I eat?" But they're kind of a little disjointed and really weird, right? Like you're sitting on the bleachers and suddenly you're flying across the ocean or things, and you don't really know how you got from one. Those are the symbolic ones that are interpreting. And then there are some that are very hyper real and they stick with you.
Yeah.
And those are visitation, psychic, and astral travel dreams.
Yeah, okay. So I think I've got a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
I remember pretty vividly because I've had recurring dreams
Hmm.
through. There's a few different ones, and looking back, yeah, I think I know. I feel very confident in saying that some of them were visitations by guides
Yeah.
because it was these certain beings that are not from here,
Yep.
but they've been in my dreams ever since I can remember, and they're like bluish skin, white hair, but I can never see their face because they wear these big hooded things like
Are
Jedis.
they super tall with long arms?
Yes.
I can see them.
Yeah, and they have really long fingers,
Yeah.
and they don't touch the ground, they hover, and they've never spoken a word to me. We just look at each other, and I think there's some downloads going on there,
There is. Yes.
but they've never spoken a word to me that I know of, that I
Hmm.
consciously know of. And so I do know that kind of maybe how to recognize that a little bit, but I mean, I've had a lot of apocalyptic dreams throughout my
So
life.
apocalyptic dreams are actually all about new beginnings. For some
Okay.
people, they're predictive, or like I have precognitive dreams about train derailments. Which, if you
Oh,
know anything about Wellington, you know
right.
that makes a lot of sense. I have precognitive dreams about train derailments and school shootings.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, not fun ones, but
No.
so okay, well, you mentioned Wellington. Did you have these dreams before you got bit by the Wellington bug?
Yep. I absolutely did. So for listeners who don't know, Wellington is a hiking trail in the North Cascades, up by Stevens Pass in Washington State. That there was an avalanche that took place there back in 1910. There were about 100 people killed. It's a very haunted place. I've written 2 books about it, and it's for me, it's like my happy place, which sounds weird, right? But there's just something about the place that I go there, and I feel at home. I feel like they're my people,
Yeah.
and all of that stuff. So that's why I said the train derailments make sense. But yes, I had those long before. I've had those since I was a kid. The
Wow.
school shootings have been more recent because that
Right.
wasn't a thing when I was a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was as times change,
Hmm.
your dreams kind of change with it. And
Hmm.
that's so interesting about train derailment and then discovering Wellington and your
Hmm.
experience with that. I've read the book. I read one of the books. I don't think I
Hmm.
have the second one, but there was almost a pull for you to be there, and
Yeah, I was a little obsessed.
as a woman obsessed about it.
Yes.
And then you figured out why. I mean, you go there and you
Yeah.
experience it,
Yeah.
and you know, talk about talk about what it's like when you go to this place, and for you it was Wellington.
Yeah.
And was it like the floodgates with
Well, Wellington woke me up.
okay.
Um, because I had been before Wellington, I mean, look, I was raised in a Christian family, right? I am from the 80s, and I've always had a very logical and ordered mind, which is something I think I created through conditioning because I was the woo woo kid, and that wasn't acceptable in the church. It wasn't acceptable in the
Right.
70s and 80s, right? All of that
Or
stuff,
even in your
or
family,
even in my family, right? All
yeah.
and all of those things. And so I created this very logical, analytical person. And so I didn't believe in any of that crap. even though when I was a kid, I believed in all of it and I read the ghost stories and I was a spooky kid looking for the spooky books and, and all of that stuff. And so I had created this wall of conditioning, and I stepped onto Wellington. And my first thing I said is, well, you can feel the weight of history here. But by the time I had been there for a few hours, all of that conditioning just crumbled away. And I was back in this space where something is happening. Consciousness survives death. I might be psychic, all of these things had
Yeah.
it changed everything for me. I credit Wellington with waking me up and being the catalyst for every book I've written. That was the first book I wrote, was the Wellington book. And all of the books I've written have been since I went to Wellington back in 2008, 2009.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you've used a term on the show before that I try and credit you as much as I can when I say it, but it sounds like the universal 2x4
It
hit you
was
in
the
the head.
universal 2x4. That is correct.
Yes, I use that a lot, and I credit you
Mhm.
for it because it makes sense, and it sounds like Wellington was like the universal 2x4
It was.
that was like, all right, Karen, smack, you're going to pay
Yeah.
attention and
Yeah.
trust yourself.
And
And
poor
yeah,
Jim thought I was nuts. I mean, because here was this, like, look, I've always been a little bit of a kook because I'm a little absent-minded and I'm very creative and all of those things, right? But all of a sudden, here is his wife dragging him to this haunted place over and over and
out in the
over and
woods.
over. Yeah. But he got on board.
Yeah. He's such a good dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a whole show in itself.
Yeah.
Like the spouses of awakenings,
Yeah.
you know, and,
Just
and what
hold
they go
on.
through. Yeah. And if he's right there, hey Jim.
He is right there. He said hi.
Hey Jim. And my wife Molly, experienced a similar thing with me, where I come
Yeah.
back from the Oregon Ghost Conference one year, going, "Well, I don't know what happened to me. I did a reading, and I don't know
I
what's
need a
what."
support group.
They do, and she did, just kind of looked at me like, "What? You're gullible," you know. So she's like, "You're gullible," you know. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad that you followed your instinct and paid attention and did something with it. I think that a lot of people miss out on that. They have the opportunity of like an awakening experience, but then just whatever factors of their life, as how they're raised, their beliefs and bias,
Yeah.
they don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
And it's
It's
so
scary. It
it
takes a
is.
certain amount of bravery to do it.
Yeah, that's those. I was looking for the word, and bravery is,
Mhm.
yeah, it takes a lot to do that, and to do something with it. And I think I'm sure glad you did something with it, because you've created so much good
Thank
for,
you.
educating people and getting your teachings out there in a way that's very personable, and people, like, your books are easy reads to where like a lot of things click and make sense. And so
Yeah.
keep doing that, keep that going. And I'm
I
certainly,
plan to.
yeah. Well, I mean, do you have anything in the works? Have you been thinking about your next book?
I've been thinking a little bit. I'm not sure where I want to go yet. I think really what I want to do is I'll probably always write, right? I mean, like, my day job is I'm a writer and editor. So
Right.
it's what I do. It's who I am. It's very important. I think what I want to do is I want to do more of the traveling and teaching. I'm really liking that kind of face to face, getting to speak to people and actually see it happen. That's a little bit of ego, right?
Yeah.
It's really cool to see it happen, to
Yeah.
see somebody get it.
Yeah. Do you
And
think,
I want to do more of that.
yeah, along with the travel part, like when you go places, like on vacation, or if you're going to a conference somewhere, do you feel like, is there a difference in how your energy and your excitement, like, for me, I feel like if I'm somewhere else, like if I've gone somewhere and I'm doing something like to teach something, it seems more, um impactful for myself. Like, do you know what I mean? Like when you just went to, the thing back east,
Yeah.
and you're teaching there. I don't know what my
You take the
point I'm
energy
getting
from
in.
the people and the space. We did in the class that I taught, we did a little exercise that was heart math, which is heart coherence thing, that I led while I was teaching the class. And
Okay.
just to be in that energy, and it's basically just getting everybody into a space of love. And to feel this room of 100 people radiating this love and have it come at you, yeah, it's incredibly inspiring. And why wouldn't I? Plus I love to travel, so
Yeah.
why wouldn't I want to do more of that?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I was getting at, was that, you know, getting people in different places on that vibe of,
Yeah,
what's not normal,
yeah,
right? Because it's
yeah,
not normal for people to radiate love.
yeah,
We radiate stress, and we're worried
we
about
do.
this and that and this and that,
Yeah,
and so that's really cool. Well, Karen, I'm really looking forward to having you again at the Port Campbell Ghost Conference. So if you go to portgamble.com, folks, you're coming to the conference. Her class is called Using Remote Viewing Principles for Psychic Development. Karen, you're a wealth of knowledge, and I'm lucky to know you, and I thank you for coming on for my last show.
yeah,
Again, folks, if you want to check out Karen's list of books and see what she's got coming up, classes, things like that, go to authorkarenfrazier.com. I put it in the comments a little bit earlier, and I'll share it again on my show page. But Karen, I want to wish you the best, and Jim, you too. Take care back there.
you too, babe.
And we'll
You
see
hear
you
him?
guys. Yeah, we'll see you guys in November.
Yeah,
And thank you again so much for being such a good support for the show, and coming on multiple times. And I always enjoy our conversation. So I will see you soon
see you
in
soon.
November.
Okay,
Right on. Well, thank you so much. And
thanks.
you can hang out right here if you want to, or if you exit out, that's totally fine. But I wanted to spend a few minutes
I'm
to.
gonna exit and let you do your thing. Thanks, Pete.
Okay. Thanks, Karen. Take
Mhm.
care.
Bye.
All right. Dee Dee saying, see you in Port Gamble. Courtney, thank you, Karen. Absolutely. Isn't she awesome? Michael Beers, thank you. Lee Warner, thanks for commenting. Sorry, this is your last show. We'll miss you. Yeah, I wanted to spend my last couple minutes on the show here to obviously give many thanks, eternally grateful for my experience doing this show. It all started when I was a guest on the Afterlife Chronicles with Nicole Strickland back in 2020, and I decided. I was asked if I wanted to do this show, come up with a show and do it, and with some hesitation at first, because I was like, man, what do I do? What do I talk about? What's this thing even going to be about? Who knows? But I started the show in late 2020, and soon really figured out that I enjoy doing it. And constant mentoring and encouragement from station owner Todd Bates. He was big part in developing kind of showing me how to do a show. And it started to feel really natural, but Todd was always there to encourage me. So a million thanks, eternally grateful for Todd and all the crew at WLTK-DB. I want to thank my wonderful wife, Molly, and my family. Molly has always been such a big support for me and always encouraging me. So thank you, Molly. Um, and then a big shout out to friend Michael Beers, who helped produce the show for quite a while. Saw him commenting on here as well. And so a big shout out to Michael. He's been a guest on the show, and huge shout out to all the guests I've had on the show. I did 110 episodes. Never thought I'd get past 10, but had amazing guests. The coolest part about all of this is getting to share the perspectives and the knowledge of all these amazing guests that came on the show to open up and share things with not only me but the audience as well. Um, Eternally grateful for all the guests and everything that they brought. Everyone brought their, brought their A game every week. So thank you so much for that. One of the coolest things, what I was going to say is one of the coolest things is how much I learned every week, just talking to different people and being open to different perspectives. And I hope that everybody who follows the show and listens to it weekly, that you are getting that as well. Some bit of education, maybe validation as well. But that was a big part of what I wanted to do with the show, was to have a good, something you can learn each week. And the guests really brought their A game all the time. And so I can't thank everybody enough for that. And of course, the listeners to the show. If you haven't listened to all the shows, but you like the show, I think the archive versions will be at WLTK-DB.com. I also have a Podbean account if you look up Paranormal Pete Show. And there's I got to put some more on there, but there's about 86 of them on there. So I got to be putting the rest of those on there, but just if you go to Podbean, check that out. Paranormal Pete Show. And then the WLTK-DB YouTube channel will have the shows as well, but I'll be sharing them on my Paranormal Pete Show YouTube channel. I haven't really done much with that, so give me a little bit of time and I'll get that up and running, but there'll be a good archive for you if you haven't seen all the shows and you want to see all the different guests I've had on. Please check that out. And of course, facebook.com/Paranormal Pete Show. If you aren't following that page, just go there, like or follow, whatever the button is, and definitely will still be posting there. I'll be doing some live videos occasionally from haunted locations, or just be, talk about something. I don't think I'm done broadcasting forever, but I do feel a pull to step aside from the show to explore some more things in my journey as well. So it was a really, really tough decision to sunset the show for now, but it's been such an amazing experience. And I'll just read a couple of the comments. Thank you guys so much. Jackie Campbell, great friend of the show, saying thank you. Karen, she said hello earlier, but I didn't get it on the screen. Courtney's saying no clue. What will I do now? Well, there's lots of episodes to catch up on. Katie Brown, thank you. Sure have enjoyed the show. Michael Lachiana, you did an awesome series. Thank you so much. Mike Beers, you're more than welcome, my friend. I'm happy to have been helpful and have been part of the show. Thank you, sir. Big help. And Katie Brown also saying it's been my favorite thing about Tuesdays. We'll miss the show very much. You had so many wonderful guests and conversations. All the best to you. Thank you, Katie. Courtney, thanks for saying. She said you've inspired me. She'll be going back to watch the videos. And Katie's also saying I'll enjoy going back to listen to the archive show. Mike Beers, love you, brother. Thanks, man. You too. And I'll read this one here from my wonderful wife, Molly. Again, said my biggest supporter. Congratulations, Pete, on successful Paranormal Pete Show run. You've impressed me with your ability to speak with ease, interest, and insight along with the various guests over the years. Even more impressive to me is your ability to be interesting and entertaining while speaking to an audience. To be able to hold a conversation with everyone while having a conversation with none is a truly gift not granted to all. You always continue to impress me, and I look forward to seeing what it must have got cut off. What happens next? I'm guessing is what she's going to say. I am psychic, right? And Michael saying, learned a lot from you too, Pete. Thanks, Todd, as well. Absolutely. Mary, glad we're close in miles. Indeed. But again, we're running a little long here, but to everybody out there, thank you so much. This isn't the end, but I'm stepping aside for now. I think it's what I'm supposed to do. And again, there's a lot of content you can go back and listen to. A lot of so many cool conversations over the years I've had with people. And thanks to WLTK-DB and Todd Bates and the whole family on the station. With that, I leave you with my usual toast of the past is history, the future's a mystery, but today's a gift because it's the present. And if there's one thing y'all can take away from the show is to be present. Don't forget about being present. It's something that we let go by the wayside a lot. We're not conscious of that. So if there's anything I can impart on everybody is to make sure you take time to be in the moment and be present. You'll find so much good things happen when you're present and there in the moment with the people you love and the people you like. It's been an amazing journey. Thanks to you all for being a part of it. This isn't the end of the journey. It's just the end of the show for now. But keep checking back. Facebook.com/Paranormal Pete Show. I'll still be posting on there. And of course, if you want to see what I'm up to in the paranormal, go to portgambleparanormal.com. And I'll see everybody soon. Thanks so much. Signing off for now from the Paranormal Pete Show. Your host, Peter Bea. Take care and be well, everybody.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.